Weirdly enough, I think Ryan Day needs this win more than what's Franklin's first name?
James!
Timothy, baby.
Get ready for the 3-point stance. 3 different minds, 3 different opinions. 3 dudes talking ball. It's Kenton. It's Jay. It's Zach. Time to bring the heat, boys.
Yes, welcome into the 3-point stance. Thank you so much for making us your first listen every single day. Kenton Gibbs, Jay Smith, I'm Zach Blackerby. Is Dabo back? Is Clemson kind of cool again? We'll touch on that later in the show. But look, a lot of big games this weekend, specifically because a lot of these coaches need to win some of these big games. Let's start with Ohio State and Penn State. Kenton, in your mind, who needs this win more? Day or Franklin? Because I think there's a very, very strong argument for both.
Well, here's the thing, right? This win for James Franklin, also known as Jimothy, would only insert his status as Himothy, which means this doesn't matter for him. Ryan Day, on the other hand, let me tell you why this game doesn't matter for James Franklin. I think as much as Penn State fans like to get upset about this, as much as they like to say, oh, we lose to Michigan, we lose to Ohio State, we lose every time a big team comes around, the deal is this. They know that they've got a smooth sailing, smooth cruise to the playoffs from now on out, being the third, maybe even fourth best team in the Big Ten most years. That's all they can ask for. Now, Ryan Day and Ohio State, on the other hand, that's the team. Oh, buddy, we need natties or else. We need natties
the goal
or else.
The goal is different.
Yeah, the goal is different, but let me ask this question. Have we already reduced it to where getting into the playoffs is the only thing that matters? Is it not advancing at least through the first or the second round more important? Isn't it making it to the Final Four that's really the actual goal? Because to me, James Franklin needs this as much, if not more, than Ryan Day, because this is the one hump he can never get over, which is beating Ohio State and Michigan regularly, the big dogs in the conference regularly, because once they get that win and they do make it in the playoffs, then we feel like they can actually win one of those games. Because I'm going to be honest, just because they make the playoffs don't mean I believe they can win it, because James Franklin still does not win games that are big.
Yeah, but where do head coaches get the pressure from? Their fan bases.
Hello.
And I think the expectation for Penn State was, oh, let's just make this expanded 12-team playoff. I don't think they were like, gosh, we got to beat Ohio State and Michigan this year. They want to make the postseason. Now, so Ryan Day's getting this pressure because he's got the best roster in college football.
One of the most expensive as well.
Yeah, it's the best one money can buy, and I mean that respectfully. Props to you, Ohio State. The skill players on offense are stupid. Like, it's insane what they have. But Ryan Day has been labeled as a guy who's not a good head coach. And that's a problem if you're a head coach at one of the top 3 schools in college football.
When does the standard go up, though? When does the standard increase for a team to just
winning? When you start winning.
But that's the thing. Penn State has been consistent when it comes to winning games.
But this is the thing I think we're missing. Let's be very honest about this. I'm a firm believer in every school in America except about maybe 10 to 12. 8 wins a year, they'll build you a statue. They'll rename the stadium after you before you go on to glory. I think Penn State is on the cusp of that group. I think Ohio State is nowhere near the cusp. Ohio State is a school, 8 wins a year, you get you 3 years. I get you 3. Hey, 3 and out real quick. Okay, as I found out, you said, what's the hump? What's the hump that Ohio State has to get over? Now that I know new information about Jay Smith, as Digital Underground would say from his childhood, the Humpty Dance is your chance to do the hump. Do it, baby. The hump for Penn State is not beating good teams in the regular season. The hump for them is getting into the playoff period, because guess what? That keeps them in national relevance. Even if they go to the playoff and get walked like a dog, they still made it, which is a great accomplishment for the Nittany Lions, because let's be honest, God rest his soul, Joe Paterno and everything that happened at the end of his tenure left this program in a less than ideal place. So to now see them at a point where we're talking about, hey, you're going to be considered one of the best 12 teams in America. Are you okay with that? You'll take that deal? In the words of everybody from Inglourious Basterds, I'll take that deal. They'll take that deal. That's what they're going to do.
But from 68 to 2000, Penn State was all open every season in the top 25, even had highs of 2s, 5s, 7s on a consistent basis, but would always lose the game that would keep them up there to even compete for the Big Ten championship. To me, I need to get some Rose Bowls. I need to get,
That's what
screw the playoffs. Screw the playoffs. Get me a Big Ten championship first. And I think that to me should be the goal before caring so much about the playoffs and then getting dog walked when you walk in.
We'll tell that to the Nittany faithful, not us. Me and Zach would agree with you, but that's where they are as a group. That's where the Penn State media is.
How the mighty has fallen.
Well, you got to make the playoffs before you can ask for more. Like, you got to make the playoffs before you can expect a championship. And
I expect conference championships. That's about it.
You can't expect conference championships, though, when you've been the third or fourth best team in your conference for the last
That's
decade.
my point. You're never getting over the actual hump to be considered a good team. Look, every fan base, when they get that taste of potential championship, they act like Chris Paul. They get addicted to it. I'm addicted to the finals. And then they never go back. And they never see glory ever again. That's the pain. That's when you're supposed to have standards, people.
Chris Paul is one of the greatest stories of recovery we have ever seen, because we know addiction is a disease, and he kicked his addiction cold turkey in no time at all. So we're not going to consider Chris Paul to be the guy that we're comparing these folks to.
Oh, we are. Because you're supposed to want championships. You're supposed to want conference championships. Look, you are right, Kenton. There are a select set of programs that 8 wins are not acceptable. You better get 10 plus on a regular basis. Penn State should be one of those. James Franklin will get you that, but he can't get over the hump of the most important games every year. I don't think they beat Ohio State this time around. To be absolutely honest, if they lose to Ohio State, they're probably not going to make the Big Ten championship, and there's a very good chance they don't even make the playoffs.
But if we're talking about who needs it more, which conversation are we having? If James Franklin loses this game, is anybody discussing his job? Let's be honest.
No.
If Brian Dane loses this game, are people discussing his job?
Yes.
So then that answers who needs it more. You're talking about shoulda, coulda, wouldas. I should be dating Megan Thee Stallion. Yet here I am with you guys.
Fair point.
Yeah,
fair point.
We're glad you're here. We're glad you're here, Ken.
I'm disappointed.
I don't know.
Myself,
At this
honestly.
point, I don't know.
So, all right, me and Kenton say Ryan Day. Jay says, James Franklin. Who needs it more between Lane Kiffin and Sam Pittman?
Ooh.
Oh, come on now. The one who comes from a long line of coaching in terms of the high profile. Kiffin.
Ooh, I don't know if that's true.
See, that's where the struggle comes in.
I don't know if that's true.
Wait. You're telling me that Pittman and company losing to a top 25 team, whether or not they should be top 25, is going to be worse than Kiffin losing to an unranked Arkansas? Stop it.
I think Lane Kiffin's success at Ole Miss from here on out is totally irrelevant to his standing with the Ole Miss fan base. They're going to love him regardless. He's going to be he made
him relevant. They don't care.
Yeah, anytime a top 20 program opens up, he's going to be the first name on all the head coaching searches, regardless of if he beats Arkansas and has this collapse at Ole Miss or not. I think Ole Miss beats Arkansas, but to me, I don't see why Lane Kiffin needs this. Sam Pittman, I think, does.
It's not just about Lane Kiffin needing this. It's about him needing not to lose this. So far this season, you can look at that team and you can say, well, they've taken some bad losses. They've taken some lumps. Things haven't worked out for them all the time. But for the most part, you can say Ole Miss beat a majority of the teams they were supposed to beat. Kentucky being the exception here. Losing to this Arkansas team, losing to this team that it was said coming into this season, hey, they're a young team, they're an upstart team, they could upset the apple cart in certain ways, but there was no expectation for playoff or bust the way they were talking in Oxford. There was no expectation.
Oh, Oxford was playoff or bust.
They're not making the playoffs now anyway. They've got such a slim chance. So much
playoffs is out. Playoffs are out for Ole Miss. Arkansas's biggest problem, the problem for Sam Pittman, is he's fighting for his job. They have been wanting that man fired for almost a year and a half. And this season was the season everybody expected Sam Pittman's, but his booty has been hot. They expect him to get fired. Now, granted, they're 5-3 now, and they're looking pretty decent. But they do not expect. But if he loses this game, all of that momentum that he had to keep that job is gone, because guess who's right there chiseling away at his potential job? His offensive coordinator, the former head coach of Arkansas, Bobby Petrino. You don't bring back a former head coach that's disgruntled for the whole situation of why he got fired because he was lying about sleeping with one of his student assistants. You don't bring him back there if you don't expect him to take that head coaching job because you want the head coach fired.
I can't believe what I'm hearing right now. I can't believe what I'm hearing right now. I gotta do
Is that preposterous? Is that ludicrous?
I gotta do a horse down.
Do it, I'm gonna do it with you. I'm gonna do it with you.
Because this is Tennessee on the season. Wait. Tennessee on the season is a top 10 team. They're playing like it. Everybody can agree that on this panel, right?
The Tennessee is?
Yes, Tennessee. The Volunteers.
Yeah.
They're one of the, Tennessee has one loss on the season. Tennessee has one loss on the season, correct?
They have one loss, yeah. So they playing like a top 10 team. I don't know.
Who that one loss come to? Just out of curiosity.
Arkansas.
So you're telling me that the Razorbacks, when they were coming into this season as just a team, that you can upset the apple cart in spurts, in moments. Beating one of the top 10 teams in the country ain't a good enough spurt? What are we doing?
It isn't.
Ken, let me ask you this. Is Lane Kiffin the head coach at Ole Miss next year?
If he chooses to be. If he chooses to be, yes. If he chooses to be.
I'm asking you to predict if he chooses to be or not.
I will say yes, because that Florida job looks less and less appealing by the day.
If that's true, then the answer to this is Lane Kiffin. I'm not sold he's there next year.
And now we're getting into a different conversation. Now we're getting into if Lane Kiffin wants to keep this fan base.
I disagree because I think the answer to who needs this win more between Lane Kiffin and Sam Pittman, it's related to Lane Kiffin's longevity at Ole Miss. I think that answers the question.
But this is my thing, okay? If we're talking about both guys want to stay at their programs next year, right? Both guys don't want to lose the fan base. I think that Pittman has gained enough goodwill and favor with how this team performed so far this season to say, you know what? He's going in the right direction. That team is trending in the right direction, as opposed to Ole Miss, which is going in the opposite direction where they're supposed to be going, baby. You done paid all these guys. You've gotten some excellent transfers. We talk about Ohio State having one of the best teams money combined. You don't think
Ole Miss got a lot of busty.
They went all in. They went all in for sure.
2 years in a row.
Let me tell you something. It was boom or bust, and these boys looking like Pamela Anderson in 04 because it's all bust. That's all they got. And you want to tell me that everybody's going to sit up here and say, oh, it's okay if Lane Kiffin loses to Arkansas because he's such a great coach for Ole Miss. Stop it. Knock it off, man.
All right. Who needs it more between Mike Elko and Shane Beamer? That's coming up. Right here on the 3-Point Stance. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel's America's #1 sportsbook. Quick, rapid fire, guys. Ohio State at Penn State. Ohio State -3.5. Who you got?
Ohio State wins and covers.
Give me Ohio State winning and covering too.
I think I'm there with you. Duke at Miami. Miami a 20-point favorite. I got Miami covering.
Miami, I think Duke covers, but Miami wins.
20 is a lot of points in a conference.
Miami don't snip that cover. Duke is going to make this a competitive game, but Miami wins. Don't put no money on that money line for Duke.
All right, and then let's go with a lower tier game here. Let's go Northwestern at Purdue. Northwestern a 1-point favorite.
Ooh, that's a stinky bowl. Give me that's a PU bowl. Give me Purdue. I don't know why, but I'll take Purdue just for the fun of it.
All right, I'll take the home team. That's fine.
Just because I love my homie Lauren McCree, she works at Northwestern. Give me the Cats. I got them winning this one.
All right, shout out to her.
That's fair. Nice.
Hey, right now, new customers at FanDuel can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Come on, that's at FanDuel.com. Thank you so much for making the 3-Point Stance your first listen every single day. All right, who needs it more, Elko or Beamer? You've got both sides here where Elko needs it as far as making a potential playoff run in his first year at the helm. Is Beamer coaching for his job? I think it depends on who you ask.
I'm going to defer to the SEC special. I'm going to let you go ahead and take the floor since you're a long-standing SEC member.
So as a long-standing member of the SEC, for the years and years that I have been a part of this and seeing how things always lay out, I got to say, I think Beamer needs this a lot more. Elko has walked in and done, honestly, the unthinkable. We didn't expect Texas A&M to come in here and be 7-1, especially after that embarrassing loss at home to Notre Dame, who lost the next week to Northern Illinois. You did not expect for the Aggies to actually bounce back like this. Now, granted, as a long-standing member of this conference, I saw the light when it came to Texas A&M. I tried to explain to people. We have to remember, Elko was only gone for A&M for 2 years. A lot of those defensive players are his. Those are dudes he recruited as defensive coordinator. He knew that he was going to walk in there and be like, hey, Turner, what up, dog? Do me a favor. Show up because I recruited you. So he's getting a lot out of those 4 and 5 stars that did survive the wave of massive exodus. He got them to go out there and play. Now, I don't know what he's doing with the quarterback situation because he's confusing the heck out of me, but I digress. I do think Shane Beamer needs this more, mainly because Beamer is still playing for his job. The defense looks good. The offense has been questionable. And the one thing we've known about Beamer ball is the offense and special teams usually show out. Offense ain't really showing out. So I think Beamer needs this one more because he needs to secure his job. If he don't, there's a good chance they may say, you know what? We were planning on firing you. We're going to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, and the rest of South Carolina's schedule is interesting. So you host A&M, you go to Vandy, which in Nashville, like that's not a given anymore.
Yeah,
you host Missouri, who I think they can beat Missouri. I think, but it's not a guaranteed win. You play Wofford, then you go to Clemson, and you need to stack up on some of these wins. I don't know what that magic number is for South Carolina, but it's 6-6 or better. And if you want,
I think 6-6 gets him fired. I think 6-6 gets him fired.
I think that they'll pull the plug. You beat Wofford. I think you lose to Clemson. You lose to Vandy. Can you beat Missouri at home? I don't know. But if you win this game, I think he keeps his job. So for that reason, I will say Beamer needs it more than Elko.
Elko playing with the church's money. Nobody expected this out of him. Nobody could have seen this coming. He's up. Hey, let me tell you something right now. If you're talking 6 wins is what it's going to take to save Beamer's job, let's start singing it together. Nah, 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 nah. Nah, 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 nah. Hey, hey. Goodbye. Beamer ball is leaving the SEC. I'm sorry to tell you, I don't see where 6 wins comes in here, but this game would go a very long way to getting him to potentially over that 6-win mark. And I will say one more thing about this game that I think is quite interesting, okay? South Carolina is only a 1-point dog. I get it. I'm sorry, a 2-point dog. I get it. They're at home. I get it. Marcel Reed hasn't shown the most in the world throwing the ball. They're only a 2-point dog. Now, I'm not going to ask Jay Smith because I know he can't take off his Texas Longhorn glasses long enough to not hate on Texas A&M. I get it. They got big beef. It's been about love and hate. Let me tell you, Jay's the biggest hater of Texas A&M. But the reality of this
hate the way they walk, hate the way that they talk.
Hey, listen, I'm just confused as to why this line is so small, but it's very clear. Elko is million up. He's good. He is enjoying himself, living life. Beamer, on the other hand, is fighting for his job.
Yep. No, I think we're on the same page there then. Hey, is Clemson back? Is Clemson kind of cool again? Let's jump into that in just a moment. Right here on the 3-point stance.
Our friends over at 5 Hour Energy know that being a passionate fan isn't just a hobby. It's a way of life. It takes a lot of energy to power through all-day tailgates, touchdown celebrations, as well as the agony of a second overtime, which is why they've created the Stand the Fan 5 Hour Energy Shot with a special flavor called Fan Fuel. The energy shot makes just for the super fans like us, the fan who are first in the parking lot and who are last to leave. We see you. So, you know what else gives me a bit of Sooner fan fuel? Because I'm a Sooner fan, not a Texas fan. Especially whenever I get a deep pass from Jackson Arnold to Brennan Thompson, or even going around college football and watching Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State do some ridiculousness in the air, or even Ryan Williams. Doesn't matter. 5 Hour Energy knows that no matter what team you root for, being a fan requires heart, soul, and a whole lot of energy. Whether you're prepping for the big tailgate or ironing your jersey, your game day to-do list is always a mile long. That's why the limited edition Stan the Fan 5 Hour Energy Shot is here to help you fuel throughout the season. What's your fan fuel this week? Whatever it takes, do it with 5 Hour Energy. Available on 5hourenergy.com. Ships nationwide.
Wow, we're about to get a jacked J. Smith. Whoo!
Chip, I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
All right, so the Clemson Tigers, Kitten, you're muted. The Clemson Tigers, as they host Louisville this weekend, 6:30 ESPN, prime time for the Clemson Tigers.
Prime time.
This is a team, like, if you're Dabo Swinney, you've got to be stoked for how your team is being viewed. I mean, everybody, even when we talk about the ACC, like, it's so easy to overlook Clemson. Everybody's talking about Miami and then the fun story that's happening between Pitt and SMU. And you've got Cade Klubnik and the Clemson Tigers just putting up points seemingly at will every single week and dominating everybody they've played since the opener against Georgia. I think Clemson's in a sneaky good spot here, guys.
I will defer to our expert on the ACC side, but I do want to add one note real quick. As you said, Zach, it's amazing how everybody's viewing Clemson. They are a 60% plus favorite in the ESPN predictor for every game for the rest of this season. They believe they're going to probably be 10-point favorites in every game going forward. That's amazing turnaround.
I want to say something that I know is going to be received poorly because in today's day and age, everybody likes to click and the quick clip instead of whole thing. Clemson is a lucky team. And by that, I understand luck to work in this way. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Clemson came in the perfect moment to where their dynasty was set to collapse, but they happened to be in a moment in this here ACC and the teams that they have played this season. They have seen enough absolutely let down and wet the bed, and they have shown up in a way that made it appear that they are all the way back. Now, my only thing for Clemson and why I will not say that they're back is because y'all remember when they had Travis Etienne and T-Law running through that thing? Y'all remember when Mr. Massage Man himself, Deshaun Watson, was running out that tunnel? Y'all remember those days?
Yes.
Well, at that point in time, it wasn't a thought of like, can we compete with Clemson? It was, hey, let's go ahead and get everybody healthy out this game and we'll be okay. We're going to lose, but let's just keep everybody healthy. You know, that was a perennial national championship type of team. This is not the proving ground for Clemson. This is not, never has the regular season been a proving ground for Clemson in terms of the last 2 decades or so, just about, right? It hasn't been, or not even 2 decades, last 15 years. With that in mind, I will say they are back to national relevance, but are they back to who we believe Clemson is? They need to go prove it in the playoff. We are talking about it too early if we're saying they're back already. I will admit everybody was wrong about the fall of their decline, including me. I'll say I was the first one looking for oxtail worth a blessing out of Cade Klubnik in hot dog time. And that was wrong on my part. I admit that. But
Dude,
I'm not ready.
Cade, I mean, when you talk about like the Heisman conversation, I'm not saying he needs to be favored, but
yeah.
I mean, he's consistently top 5, and that feels a little too low. Like, I'm not saying he should be number 1, but I think he should be top 3 right now. I think Cade Klubnik is slinging it right now.
Yeah.
He's playing his best ball. I'll give it to Garrett Riley out there, man. That and Dabo Swinney. Looks like Dabo let Garrett Riley do his job. The offense looks more like a Riley type of offense. It looks easier for the quarterback. It looks like he's way more comfortable. That doesn't look like there's a whole bunch of extra layers of complexity that should not be there. Sometimes you got to dumb this stuff down for your quarterback so they can get out of their own head. And it's mainly because they're trying to be too perfect. Klubnik is slinging it. And like I said, it feels like Riley's more so in charge. I agree with Kenton, though. I need Dabo to go out there and win a playoff game. Actually, I need him to make it to the Final Four. He makes it to the Final Four, then I'll feel like Dabo is back because that's what we're used to. We're used to him either being at the cuffs of making the playoffs or being in the playoffs, in which to me, I don't care nobody say, making the 12-man means nothing to me. Making the Final Four is the only time. Well, the Final 8 is the only thing that actually matters to me. I need you to get into the round where you're playing against the top 4 teams, and then we can talk about your relevance. That first win, gives you more clout to me. Getting in don't mean squat.
Yeah, well, they probably will make the top 8 if they all do what we think they can do. Like if they beat Pitt in a few weeks, and then if they beat Miami, presumably Miami in the ACC championship game, like they probably get a bye at that point.
Oh, most likely. And I will say, and by the way, I know Clemson fans are going to jump me because I know they like to tussle. I know Tiger Dad 89 is already in the comments saying I don't know nothing about fall.
Tiger Dad, I love it.
I want to make one thing clear. The fact that I'm saying Clemson is not back is a credit to Clemson. That's a credit to you, not a diss.
It is.
Sure.
Because if we're talking about, and I hate to do this to you, but if we're talking about Zach's Auburn Tigers, one really good year, that's it. That's all you need. And then, hey, you done your deal. You done your deal. We don't expect you to be good again for the next 4 or 5 years because you're Auburn. That's what you do. You pop out with 1 year, and then you fade back into whoever you were for the next 3 to 4. Clemson, on the other hand, has the expectation of not only one good year, but multiple great years because that's where you are. So don't take me saying you're a team of luck as in preparation meeting opportunity because Dabo was prepared. When this schedule faltered, when NC State and Grayson McCall could not figure out how to complete a damn pass to the flat, they showed up and they took advantage of that. They did not cower away from that. When Florida State couldn't figure out how to beat anybody except Cal, and let's be honest, we all know that was Cal and their wokeness, they said, hey, we got to give out some wins. We got to equally distribute the wins around the conference, baby. Florida State's lacking. If it wasn't for that, Florida State wouldn't have a single win. And what did Clemson do when they went and played them? They whooped the wheels off them, as they should have done. So I'm not saying, oh, Clemson has just played a terrible schedule. No. Clemson was prepared when this moment hit that one of the toughest schedules in the conference preseason fell apart to become, well, damn, is Pitt the only ranked team that you're going to play this year in conference? Mm-hmm. They were prepared, and they have shown up, and they have shown out. They have gotten some behind and acted a donkey in the ACC.
That's right. That's right. Hey, thank you so much for making the 3-point stance your first listen every single day. For your second listen, go check out our buddy, Chris. I was going to say Chris Gordy of Locked On SEC. He can be your second listen. Or Spencer McLaughlin, host of Locked On College Football. He's on the same YouTube channel or podcast feed, however you're consuming the show. For Kitten Gibbs and Jay Smith, I'm Zach Blackerby. This has been the 3-point stance.
See how big SEC media gets you? He got a co-host hosting the
horns down
conference channel. He don't even talk about me. He talk about SEC.